Hello, welcome, howdy partners. You are here at the PharmD Reads. My name is Alex, and today I'm gonna do my February wrap up. I forgot / by the time remembered to do a January wrap up. It was far too late, so I'm just gonna do February and we're gonna move on with our lives. I definitely do want to do a wrap up every single month because I love watching other people's wrap ups. I get a lot of really great book recommendations, book reviews, thoughts, and opinions, so I like doing them. I like watching them. Fingers crossed that February doesn't end up being a one-off. Let's not ramble. You know I love to babble and bullshit. So actually, okay, no, I lied. There is something that I want to do first. I have a little mini book haul, and I know that you'll guys like those things, so hold please. The first little haul is from a work trip. So I just got back last night from Nashville. I was there for 3 days for work training, and of course I had to Google the coolest bookstore in Nashville and go to it. So Google told me it was Parnassus Books.
I love you.
It was really, really cute. It smelled amazing. It was gorgeous vibes. Like everything was hardwood floors and ladders, like library of your dreams. So I picked up 3 books and some stickers. Okay, so here are 3 out of the 4. Well, I got 5 stickers and I gave one of them to my husband, but this one, I do love chicken nuggets. PharmD, but also millennial with serious mental health issues, holler. And of course, hot girls have tummy issues. If you don't, you do probably. So those were the stickers. And then I also got like a little one with like, it was like a little book stack that said Parnassus Books, but it's buried already in the drawer that I threw it in. So these are the books that I got while I was there. I got A Love Story for Ricky Wilde by Tia Williams. Y'all, I did try really hard to not purchase this book. I had it on hold at the library, both the audiobook and the physical, like whichever came in first, and I just couldn't help myself. I love the colors, I love the cover, I love this author. This book sounds so good. So it's basically about this couple in New York, I believe, and there's some magical realism involved, romance. It's gonna be great. If you haven't read 7 Days in June by the same author, you are ridiculously missing out, and I highly recommend it. So I just decided to pick this up because I probably was gonna buy it at some point anyway. So, and then I also got The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. I don't remember what this is about. It's just been on my TBR for a long time. I'm obsessed with the cover, and the paperback finally came out. Nice and floppy. Picked it up. This I have not heard of, but it's called Thirst, and it is by Marina Yajuk. I probably said that wrong, but A for effort. This is a what sounds like sapphic Latin American gothic vampire story, and I just want vampires all the time. You will see what I mean when I get to my February wrap-ups. Vampires are just my favorite like paranormal romance character, and there's been a lot of books coming out new that are about vampires or the Omegaverse, which again you'll see later in the wrap-up. But this cover was stunning, the colors, and it says it's translated. It's a translated, so it's originally in a different language. Let's see if I can. Okay, so this was translated from Spanish, probably. Great. I'm very excited to read this. So that was the haul from Parnassus. Now we have unboxing. So this is my book of the month. I know I remember what one of these books is, but I don't remember what the other one is, so I'm very excited. It was one of the finalists of the book of the month 2023 book of the year list, and the one that won was yours truly, which I already owned and coincidentally is going to be in this video at some point. I picked up Shark Heart, A Love Story by Emily Habeck as my book of the month finalist, like free book pick. And I kind of know what this is about, but what I really do know for sure is that everyone and their mom is talking about this and how great it is. So I picked it up. Don't know when I'll get to it, but someday, somehow. And then that's annoying. Okay, cool. Well, I got A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. I have been very excited to read this, and as you saw in my last video, I did get the Fairy Loot edition as part of my subscription. I was under the impression that all of the first editions of this were gonna have those like chromed edges, but Book of the Month, I guess, does not, which is fine. Fine, fine. Fine. You know what? I'm gonna read this and then I'll decide if it's worth like donating this copy and buying with my own money. The one with the sprayed edges. That's so annoying. All right, it's fine. It's fine. It's not a big deal. Okay, that was that package. This one I am so excited about. Not confident that I'm gonna be able to open this without hurting one of us, either myself or you guys. How horribly I open it. Yeah. Well, I can't pull this tab because there's tape all over it. So like, what do you expect me to do? I hope that when I do what I think I'm about to do, it works and it doesn't all this shit fall all over us. Don't look at my address. All right, here we go. Let's give it a try. Okay, if you couldn't tell, this is from Blackwell's in the UK, and this is all 5 of the Magnolia Parks universe books in the original covers, because the new ones, although they are growing on me, are a shim sham compared to these. Like, are you kidding me? Look at these. Are you? What? And the backs even are really good. And they feel great. Like this one has like some parts that are a little bit more shiny than the other ones. And it feels really nice. Like the blue part with the daisies is kind of matte. Oh, and these are gonna look so good lined up. Okay. So this is The Long Way Home? No, Daisy Hates the Great Undoing. The Long Way Home. Like, these are insane. They're so pretty. Ah, thick boy. I'm so excited. And this one has some stuff on the back too. I don't remember the order of these, so I'm probably doing them all wrong. And then this is the newest one. Look at the back. It's a bathtub with a deer in it. I'm not sure why. I'm sure that none of these covers are actually relevant to the material inside, but ooh, a little creme spine with some gold lettering. Yeah, these are stunning, and I've definitely made the correct choice. I think they go in this order. I think it's Magnolia, Daisy, Magnolia, Daisy, Magnolia. Why are we focused on these two girls? I guess I'll find out. Oh boy. Wow. Look at that. I'm so excited I have these. Oh, I've been waiting for them to come in. So I've only read Magnolia Parks, which again, gonna be part of this video later. And I did like it. You'll see my thoughts and opinions and rating on it later, but I could care less what any of these are about or if they're any good. The covers are absolutely stunning and I had to have them. So that's the little mini haul / unboxing. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for sticking around. Continue watching. Let's talk about the books that I read. So I read a total of 15 books. 9 of them I own. 6 of them were either borrowed from Kindle Unlimited or Libby or the library. So I'll probably do those last because I have to insert a picture up here in the corner. But you know what? Let's just start let's just start with Magnolia Parks. So Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings is Gossip Girls in the UK, and they're a little bit older and they're a lot more toxic. There's nothing redeeming about the relationship between Magnolia and BJ. They're all spoiled little rich bitches and I ate this shit up. If you go into this just knowing what you're reading and that it's basically just like drivel, you know, it's just drama with pretty writing, then it's great, it's fine. I don't think that this is like a literary masterpiece by any means, and I don't think the story is really that compelling. This one follows Magnolia as she basically just messes with a bunch of dudes' heads and gets away with it because she's pretty and rich. Again, who cares? I thought it was great. 4 stars. I really did enjoy it. I would not like, a lot of people annotate these and like get really into them. I don't think that my love for the Magnolia Parks universe is gonna go that intensely, but I really liked this and I'm very excited for my new UK copies and for continuing with the drama. So this was 4 stars. If you like, again, romance, but it's really, really, really bad for you, toxic, horrible, 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 and they're all really pretty and rich, this is for you. The next book that I want to talk about is Powerless by Lauren Roberts, and I would be damned to find one of you that either hasn't already read this or wants to read it, or it's on your TBR or whatever. I'm surprised that I picked this up and also that I enjoyed it so much because it is very YA, but I think the characters, Kit and Kai and Peyton, are really mature for their ages. They've been through a lot. They've had a lot of trauma. So Peyton is an orphan who lives in the slums of the Kingdom of Ilia, and through a turn of events, she is chosen to compete in basically what is the Hunger Games of this world. And it's supposed to be this honor, but like it's not, because you could definitely die. A lot of the kids die. And she's chosen with 8 other people, including Kai, who is the enforcer of the kingdom, and his brother Kit is the prince. He's not in the games. Their dad is the king. He's a piece of shit. This was really good. It was really fun. The banter was fantastic. It's like everything that you would want in a romantasy. Very fast paced, very character and plot driven, and super enjoyable. I loved the character arcs. I loved the little cliffhanger that we got. I'm very excited for book 2. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. I actually consumed this for the majority via audiobook, but I did pick up the hard copy and was like reading in between, and I'm really glad that I did. It's a beautiful cover, great story. If you like romantasy, this is it. This is romantasy. There is no spice. So if you're interested in spice, this isn't the book for you, but it's YA. So I don't know why you're looking for spice in YA unless you're a 32-year-old weirdo. So the last book that I actually read of the month was Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, who is an absolute auto-buy author for me. This I got from Book of the Month whenever it like came out, but I have read all of Abby Jimenez's previous books, including Part of Your World, which is the first book of this little series. This follows our 2 main characters, Brianna Ortiz and Jacob Maddox, who are 2 doctors in an emergency room at the hospital that the main character from book 1 actually left. So that's the connection back to book 1, which I can't remember the main character's name in the first one. It doesn't matter. Anyway, and this follows them falling in love with each other, but they just won't admit it, and it's so good. I love the fact that it follows 2 healthcare workers dealing with mental health issues, because I am also a healthcare worker dealing with mental health issues, and that representation for me is so meaningful. It was really well written. I actually read this on my Kindle because it was on Kindle Unlimited and I already had a chonky ass book in my hands. My style of reading is I like to have 1 physical going, 1 Kindle going, and an audiobook going all at the same time. So, but I do have the physical, so here we are. This was great. It had a 3-legged dog named Lieutenant Dan. Like, I don't know what else you want. If you like contemporary romance, pretty low spice, just like really, really, really character-driven contemporary romance, and it's well written. It's not corny. Like, I just can't deal with romances that are corny. Okay, Abby Jimenez does not miss. All of her books have been 5 stars for me, and this was no different. So 5 stars, Yours Truly, loved it. Abby Jimenez, auto-buy author. You will love this book if you love contemporary romance. She's the queen of it in my opinion. I'm gonna get into my vampire portion of the evening. So I'm gonna start with Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I picked this up because I had to know what Ali Hazelwood's foray into paranormal romance was gonna give us, and I gave this 5 stars. I was shocked at how much I liked this. A lot of people have been saying that the part of this book that they did not like was the politics of it. And I actually think that that really lended a lot to the story. It made it feel more adult, more mature, more high stakes, and not just like a werewolf and a vampire and a marriage of convenience. So I really liked that aspect. This book follows our vampire female main character, Misery Lark, who has to marry our werewolf shifter main character, Lo Moreland, who is the alpha of like the wolves of this world. And in this world, humans and wolves and vampires all live together, and they all know about each other, and there's rules and regulations guarding their different species. That's where the politic play comes in, because Lo, as the alpha, marrying Misery, who is the daughter of the head of like the vampires, it's trying to like bridge, you know, some political gaps and things like that. So I thought this was really great, and I thought the spice was phenomenal. I did not mind the Omegaverse classic portion of the spice. If you do look it up, a lot of people don't like that as well, but I ate this shit up. I actually think that Ali Hazelwood should continue doing paranormal romance, and as much as I love her STEM books, enough is enough. This was great. It was refreshing. It was really well written, and I got the Illumicrate Afterlight special edition of it. It slaps. Can't wait for it to come in and show you, and I'm really glad that I pre-ordered it because I did give this 5 stars. So top tier paranormal romance with high stakes politics. If you're into that, you're gonna love this. Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. I squeezed this in, as you saw in my failed 24-hour readathon video, and this so far I think is my favorite book that I have read this year. This was fantastic. 5 stars, infinity stars, instant favorite. I'm so glad that I read this now, 5 days before Empire of the Damned book 2 is coming out, because I feel well prepared, well versed in my history of what is the name of this world? Illidian. I was right. Elidaean. Okay. So Empire of the Vampire is a very lengthy novel where the vampires are the bad guys. This gives like French coded interview with a vampire, but if you skipped all the interview stuff, and Gabriel was Tom Cruise's character and but like was a vampire hunter. That made no sense. We're moving on. The way that this book is set up, it is following our character Gabrielle de Leon, who is part of the Silver Saints, which is the order that is trying to rid the world of vampires and bring sun back. Because at a certain point, like early in his childhood, the sun went away, and now vampires can roam at all times of the day. So it's made it like really, really difficult for humans to avoid them and to not get killed and turned into more vampires. So he is in the present day of the book taking place, a captive of another vampire who is interviewing him. And through the interviews, he is giving, okay, so my interview with a vampire thing stands. I'm going back to that. That stands. He is giving a recounting of his childhood leading up to when he got to the chapel and he became a member of the Silver Saints, and then also at the same time a more recent timeline of him as an adult in this like quest for the Holy Grail, and that's all I'm gonna say. This book is thick, but it's awesome. It's so good. The artwork is absolutely incredible. The story is really fast-paced, really character-driven and plot-driven. It's anything that you would want in a dark and grim vampire fantasy, in my opinion. All of the characters are great. The action scenes are bloody and gory, and they're great. There's a lot of really awesome reveals, like things that you just don't see coming, and I highly recommend, if you like vampires that aren't like simping in love with each other, they're mean as shit, you should read this book. And Empire of the Damned comes out on March 12, 2024. Read this book, read that one. We'll talk about it when we do. So listen, I read all 3 Crescent City books, right? You guys know, if you know, you know. I reread House of Earth and Blood and House of Sky and Breath in preparation for House of Flame and Shadow that came out on January 30th. And I didn't end up completing my rereads until February. These are 5 stars. We don't need to talk about them. They're rereads. I tabbed my paperback special editions from Barnes & Noble, which I'm very pleased with how they came out. And I had a great time rereading these. I didn't like this. I did not have a great time reading House of Flame and Shadow. I still am happy that it exists and that I tabbed it, but I gave this 3 stars, and this is the first time that I have ever given Sarah J. Maas anything less than 5 stars. It almost feels illegal for me to do so, but I am vindicated that a lot of you share my feelings on this. This book was a hot mess. There were far too many characters. in the sense that we didn't give a shit or need any of those characters' storylines. There were characters that were popping up and having these crazy things happen to them and then they just disappear. Bryce had a really strange character arc where she was like really like kind of like mean in my opinion, and just not her normal like I would die for you self. Just me, I'm thinking of the plan, I'm not gonna tell you so everyone knows that I came up with it, and I just didn't care for her. Hunt felt like he barely had any scenes, and he's my favorite character. The romance between Bryce and Hunt was not good. Yeah, I don't know. The crossover I also didn't love because I don't care that Rhysand wasn't in it that much, but a third of this 800-page book was following Nesta and Bryce and Azriel navigating tunnels quietly. Like, two of the most quiet characters of the inner circle, that's who you had do the crossover. I don't know. I also felt that there were a lot of plot holes. Sarah, with a little bit more time and care in her writing, and also whoever her editor is, I think this could have been a lot better. It was fine. I don't know. I don't want to talk about it ever again. If they come out with more books following Ethan and Tharian, like, I might read them, but for this being the end of Bryce and Hunt, I don't think it's the ending that we deserved as a fan base. So that's all I have to say about that. The next book that I want to talk about is Nestlings by Nat Cassidy, which you also saw me read in my Fail 24-hour readathon video, and I loved this. I gave this 4 stars. It follows a couple that have a 1-year-old that won a lottery to live in this super famous apartment building in New York City that has a lot of mystery surrounding its history. And as soon as the couple gets in there, like, some really strange shit starts happening. So basically the house is haunted, but the house is like this glamorous apartment building in New York City. And I loved this. It has a lot of good representation of like different religions and handicaps and disabilities. I thought this was really great. I don't think it was as good as Mary, which I'm tired of saying, but if you like horror fiction, you will like Nat Cassidy, and you will definitely like Mary. And I think you'll like this too. It just took a turn at the end that, while I enjoyed it, I don't think was done well. Don't want to say too much more because I talked about it in my other video and I don't want to do any spoilers in case you want to read this. I suggest you go in blind. It's fantastic if you do so. All right, so now I want to talk about the books that I don't own. The first one is Savage Son by Jack Carr, and this is the 3rd book in the Terminal List series, which is a dad fiction thriller series. This series follows our main character, James Reese, who from book 1 to book 3 has experienced a lot of horrible things, the majority of which happens in book 1, setting up his character arc for the remainder of the series, and that is that his Navy SEAL crew in Afghanistan is all murdered in order to cover up a conspiracy involving some drugs that they were giving the Navy SEALs that were giving them brain tumors. So it's really crazy. And then also his pregnant wife and his young daughter are also murdered, and his terminal list is he finds out that he has a brain tumor, so he writes down all the names of the people that were involved in all these killings of his squad and also his family, and he Keanu Reeves in John Wick's them. It's awesome. Really fast paced, really easy to listen to. I've listened to all 3 books so far via audio on Libby, and this one was no different. I gave this one 4 stars. I really liked this one actually better than the second one. The second one I only gave 3 stars because it was like kind of weird. I don't know, it lost me for quite some time in the middle and then like got me back up again. But in this one, James finally gets a little bit of romance and happiness, and a lot of it, most of it takes place on a ranch in like Montana or Wyoming or something. So the setting is really great. It's a little bit more laid back than the other ones. I thought our villains were really good in this one. So yeah, these are just like super easy to listen to. I have the next one, I'm looking right now. I have the next one on Libby, The Devil's Hand. How fun. So I might start that pretty soon. But yeah, 4 stars for that. Dad thriller. It's great. Cool, we're moving on. The next book that I read is When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker, and I read this via Kindle Unlimited on my Kindle. This is, I would say, a fantasy with romance. I would not say it's a romantasy. It's a fantasy with romance, and it follows our main character, Rave, who is a deadly assassin, and her best friend is murdered. So she goes on a rampage trying to figure out what happened to her, and in that process gets kind of caught up with our male main character, Con Vager, who is a king of one of the realms, of one of the 3 realms that like exist in this world. What I liked about this fantasy was the setup with the dragons and how they like fossilized and became the moons, and then the moon falling in more recent times is like significant to some really great reveals that we have in the story. I really enjoyed reading this, and again, this is one of the ones that I talked about in my failed readathon vlog, which I will link it or add a card or something or other if you want to watch it. Didn't make it 24 hours, but still very entertaining. This was okay. I thought it was like 200 pages longer than it needed to be. I thought some of the language choices were uncomfortable and didn't make sense for the story. I thought that the spice was okay. I thought it came at weird times and it was disjointed. The big reveal I called much earlier in the book than I would have wanted to, and overall I just thought it was average. I gave it 3 stars, but I do definitely recommend it if you like a more unique fantasy. It's on Kindle Unlimited if you have it, so it's free, and I think the next book will be really great and I'll definitely read it. So yeah, that's that one. 3 stars. The next book that I want to talk about is Scarlet Angel, which is the 3rd book of the Mindfuck series by S.T. Abbey. And this one it's the 3rd novella continuing on in the story. In this one, we have a little bit more background on our girl. I don't remember her name. Anyway, this is the 3rd installment of like the whole thing. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really remember what happens in this one, but I'm pretty sure I gave it 4 stars and I'm enjoying this series. It follows, I can't remember the main character's name, but it follows a girl who went through an incredibly traumatic thing in her teens, and her brother and her father were killed because of it. And so now she is serial killing all of the individuals that were involved in this horrific thing that happened to her. And now she's fallen in love with an FBI agent who is tracking her, but he doesn't know it's her. This series is really fun, super spicy. I'd say like a 2 out of 5 probably. And you can either purchase it as the whole Mindfuck series, which is books 1 through 5, and it's like this big and it's like 600 or 700 pages. I've been reading it via Kindle Unlimited, one at a time. If you do it that way, each book or installment, I guess in the bigger book, is only about 120 pages. So they're really easy to read and I'm really enjoying the story. I think it's well. This got 4 stars and I'm hoping to finish up with books 4 and 5 in March. Fingers crossed. But I feel like Empire of the Damned is gonna suck my life out of me. The next book that I want to talk about is Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief. This is by Rick Riordan. This is book 1 of the Percy Jackson Olympian series, and I've never read these. So these are middle grade, and I really wanted to watch the show on Disney Plus, which I have watched the first episode, and then I also watched the movies that came out, and I'm really glad that the show has age-appropriate characters because the movies that came out are literally 25-year-olds pretending to be like 12-year-olds. It's absurd. But yeah, this is so fun. So it basically follows our main character, Percy Jackson. I believe he's about 12 years old, and he thinks he's a troubled kid with ADHD and dyslexia and all these problems, but really he is just a demigod son of Poseidon and his human mom. It's great. It mixes Greek mythology with modern day. I think it's really fun and easy to read, even as an adult reading middle grade, and I have book 2 on my Kindle ready to read, and I'm really excited to continue the series and also the show on Disney Plus. I believe I gave this 4 stars and it's really fun. I'm really happy that I read it, and I'm giving YA in like middle grade and more genres a chance this year. Like, I just feel so diverse. It's not even funny. But yeah, this book is great and I'm really excited to continue the series. The next book that I want to talk about is Monstrilio, and that is by Gerardo Samano Cordova. This is a literary horror book that follows a woman whose 11-year-old son has passed away from what I believe to be, I think, is cystic fibrosis complications. A lot of breathing issues. He passes away, and in her grief, she cuts him open and takes a piece of his lung and grows it into a new being that she thinks is her son reincarnated, named Monstrilio. And we get 4 different POVs: the mom, the dad, a best friend named Lena, who becomes basically like an aunt to Monstrilio and kind of has like an on again, off again, sapphic love relationship with the mom. And then our last POV is Monstrilio themselves. This book is very weird, but I thought was very good. I thought the writing was great. The pacing was awesome. Having Monstrilio actually turn into this like sentient, intelligent being and giving us their point of view at the end, I thought was fantastic. This book was great. I highly recommend if you like weird literary horror, if you want to read something by a new author, I think this one is for you, and I can't wait to see more from this author. Again, I gave Monstrilio 4 stars and I loved it. It was great. It was fantastic. classic. Finally, the last book in my wrap up. Hopefully I'll be able to finish it. My battery says it and my camera has like 1 bar left, so fingers crossed. The last book that I want to talk about is The 620 Man by David Balducci. And this follows our main character, Travis Devine, who is an investment banker on Wall Street, and he takes the 620 train every day in his miserable, miserable life. He's really low in the company because he just started after many years of like intense military service, and he's trying to make his daddy proud in his 30s, aren't we all? This was okay. I picked it up as like a dad thriller to like give me Orphan X vibes, but I thought that the story was kind of convoluted. He ends up uncovering this like big conspiracy involving his boss at the investment bank, and there's like a code system with the bikini that a girl wears. I don't know. It was all right. I think I do want to read more from this author. There is a second book out in this series with Travis, you know, our main character, Travis. I do have it on hold on Libby, so I'm definitely going to read it, but I think I gave this 3 stars. It was just okay. I think Orphan X and the Terminal List series are better for dad thrillers with like military. Hello, we were so close. My battery died. I had to change it. Yeah, it was all right. I don't know, whatever. I listened to it on audio. I really, really, really am enjoying exploring this dad thriller genre because just it's a different thriller than all the domestic thrillers that are out, and my husband has military background, so you know a lot of the things that they talk about make a little bit of sense to me, so I'm really enjoying my dad thriller season that I'm in, and I hope it never ends. Yeah, this was 3 stars, and I am looking forward to book 2 to see if it's any better than book 1, and I do plan on reading more from this author. We'll see if it ends up being like a second chance situation or what, but with that was the wrap up. Thank you so much for watching me babble and bullshit about books. In this February wrap up video, please like this video if you liked it and subscribe to my channel if you liked me. You should. I'm cute. I'm funny. I like to read. I don't know what else you want. And with that, that's the end of the video. I will leave my handle for Instagram at the Farm D Reads down below, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Bye.